Most people have probably heard of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, better known as ADHD, but they might not know what the symptoms are or what it's like to live with the condition.
Yeah, now a team of researchers from Nottingham have developed a way to help everyone do just that using virtual reality. Well, James Robertson reports.
Okay, so you're going to see 3 different scenarios of what it's like to live with ADHD.
We've got 3 options. You're about to meet Sebastian, a 10-year-old boy with ADHD. You join Sebastian and his mother as they arrive at a family birthday party. It's here at the Mental Health Institute on Nottingham University's Jubilee campus that researchers have been working on the virtual reality system. The researchers here worked with global firm Shire Pharmaceuticals to produce the In My Shoes videos, one featuring a youngster, the next the experience of an adolescent at a dance, and lastly an adult who's had the condition from childhood. A virtual reality system rather than simple film has been used because it plunges the viewer right into what it's like to suffer from attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. James Robertson, BBC News, Nottingham.
Well, watching that report with us here in the studio, Jane Dawson and Charlotte Dawson. Charlotte, you have ADHD.
Yes, I do.
And it's interesting watching that because this is something you have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Do you think that looked helpful? I mean, I think have you actually tried it out yourself?
Yeah, I have. I was at a conference with the Shire and I was trying it out, and it was very realistic, much how I suffer as well.
So do you think it could be helpful to people getting an understanding?
Yeah, I do. I think not many people know about it, and this is definitely a good way to get it out.
So just tell us a bit about what life's like for you then every day, for people who don't really know what it is.
Well, obviously it's a tiny bit tricky because I get distracted a lot, but also because I don't focus that much, but I can go into a hyper-focus where when I'm doing the things I love, I can concentrate a lot and do it very well. Yeah,
but it's just keeping that attention, I guess.
Yeah.
And for you, Mum, then, just tell us about how it came about that Charlotte was diagnosed with this, because it is something which a lot of people have, but there's a lot of people who don't know about it too.
Yeah, I think probably she was diagnosed about 4 years ago, but I think I knew a bit before that, probably about sort of around the age of 7 or 8, that there was possibly something I thought that might be a little bit different to most of her peers, but I wasn't quite sure, so I kind of left it a bit to see if it really was a pattern or whether it was just a one-off, kind of developmentally. So it took quite a while to get diagnosed, and then finally at the age of 10 she was diagnosed with combined ADHD. And she's 14 now, so we've lived with it for quite some time.
So, Jane, once you've got the diagnosis, what can you do practically to help?
I think first of all there was a relief because you're not going mad as a parent, that actually even though it's a label that perhaps does have a bit of a negative stigma to it, but I think it was also a positive step because it meant that we could start getting the help that we needed. And sometimes that help is just small, simple things, just supportive steps rather than anything major or dramatic.
Yeah. And Charlotte, do you feel like people understand what it is and people understand you?
Sometimes it's hard to tell people about it because you feel like they're going to judge you or they're going to class you as a naughty kid. But I know that once I've told someone, it's just me, and say if I've told my friends, I know that nothing's going to change because it's always been there, and I know that it's something that I can be proud of, to be honest with you.
Well, you hear a lot from youngsters who have ADHD where they get into trouble at school. I say trouble, but to do with not paying attention because the teachers don't know what's happening inside your head and how that feels. Did that happen to you as well?
Yes, it did, quite a lot. In primary school, I was classed as the naughty kid all the time, always getting put into detention. And
what were you doing that made them think that way? What was happening?
Well, I'd just talk to people in class. I'd be maybe looking at the board, and then all of a sudden I'd start humming a tune and distracting other people around me, and then I'd forget something, or I wouldn't write as much, and my teacher would be going on and on saying, you should have done this, I've told you this, and I'd just forget, and it wouldn't be my fault. I'd just go out of my mind.
Jen, do you think, because often when we talk to young people who have different things that have happened in their lives or different disorders, kids are fairly understanding, but it's often the adults who are the ones who find it hard to get their head around. Is that what you've experienced?
I have, in a very mixed way, because I think there are some people that just can't believe that, you know, the child they know and they're growing up with, you know, has got something like that. But again, I think different people take it in different ways. So, you know, for example, many people who are still grappling with the idea that ADHD is a real, you know, very real condition, sometimes find it hard to believe, or they'll say, well, you know, she's behaved at the moment, I don't know what you're talking about. But it's that inconsistency of you know, behaviour and attention. So, you know, as she says, sometimes she can be really hyper focused on something and really kind of get in the zone with, you know, with learning or doing something, and other times she's kind of, you know, her mind is flitting about like there's no tomorrow. So it's very different, and it's inconsistent all the time, so you can't really sort of measure anything by it.
And Charlotte, if there's someone watching this now, who either a parent who's been looking at their child thinking this, or a youngster themselves who's thinking, do you know what, some of the things that Charlotte's talking about sound like me, what would you say to them?
I just say, well, that's normal, you know, everyone's got something, and, you know, that's just you, and it's something I feel to be proud of. It's like, you're a normal human being with a little extra on the side, so you can be more, you can do more than other people.
Yeah, I like that philosophy, normal human being with a little extra on their side. That's a really positive way to look at it.
Lovely seeing you here this morning. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh no, you're both lovely, thank you. This time of the morning as well, dragging people out of bed, we're terrible.